to my YouTube channel. I am your humbled host, Save Our Children TV, back at it for brand new videos. Yesterday, if you're not watching my live, I actually talked about this first story, which was about a 6-year-old who shot his Virginia teacher. The reason why I back at it today, and I couldn't finish all the stories from yesterday, so I'm going to restart all the stories and I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories. Some of these stories are very crazy, but um, yesterday I was using a faulty laptop that kept going in and out. So um, I'm going to finally drop yesterday's video, the second portion today. So first story is out of Virginia. Virginia takes now a 6-year-old shoot a Virginia teacher. First grader shoots his first grade elementary school teacher. And the update, I'll tell you guys about the update yesterday, but I was having troubles with that laptop, so I haven't, second new laptop that I'm using that works. So, 6-year-old student used his mother's gun to shoot teacher, police say. Police said the 6-year-old who shot his teacher in Newport News, Virginia, put his mother's handgun in his backpack. Before he left for school, the teacher was giving a reading lesson when she was shot, according to officials. Chris Van Clave reports. I'm going to another news article because they don't have it, you know. Police in Newport News, Virginia, provided new details Monday about the shooting of an elementary school teacher allegedly by a 6-year-old student. The shooting, which police say was intentional, took place at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News on Friday, January the 6th. The teacher, identified as 25-year-old Abigail Zorner, was teaching a lesson when the child drew the weapon, Police Chief Steve Drew said in a news conference. The teacher took a defense position and held up her hand. Drew said the bullet passed through her hand and entered her chest. She remains hospitalized and is reported to be in stable condition. That shot was the only one fired. Drew said he said there had been no physical fight between teacher and student. The child was using a 9mm Tyrus firearm, which Drew described as a handgun. Police said the gun was legally purchased by the child's mother. The child brought the weapon to school in his backpack, but Drew said the firearm was on the child's body, not pulled from his backpack at the time of the shooting. Drew declined to provide information about how the gun was secured in the home. I wish we never had to ask, how does a 6-year-old know how to use a phone? I do not know that I can give you an adequate answer, Drew said. It's unprecedented. I don't know how to answer that question. After Zwana was shot, she was able to evacuate the children from her classroom. Drew recounted watching security footage showing the 17 to 20 children in the room spilling into the hallway and going into a neighboring classroom. Zwana was the last person to leave the classroom, he said, calling her a hero. It was heroic that way the students were taken care of, Drew said. An unidentified female school official entered the classroom and restrained the child, police said, while Zwana sought help in administrative offices. Police, police said they received a call about the shooting at 1:59 p.m., and the first officers arrived on the scene 5 minutes later. The rest of the school was systematically evacuated, and parents were reunified with the children. Students who had been in the classroom where the shooting took place was brought to the school library where they met with detectives and mental health professionals. Redneck Elementary School has canceled classes for the week. Now, I'm going to say this. I watched the news briefing, which was the update, and my suspicion was right. It's a single family um home, which is a single mother, father not in a home or in a picture, but it's the single mother. And I was right. It was the mother registered gun. This is the thing. That gun would have to have been laying around somewhere for that child to access it. You could not tell me that that gun was locked away or that gun was put up in a secured location in the house. That gun was somewhere low where he had access to it. And the fact that the mother didn't notice that he put the gun in his backpack, you know, it just don't make common sense. The fact that the mother did not know that this child had her gun. Hold on for a second. We're talking about a first grader. And the sad part is this isn't the first time a child, per se, shot someone. It's the first time there've been shootings in schools and places where children brought or took their parents' weapon. I look at it like this. After the investigation is done, and what got me is that the police department who are investigating this said that if there's charges brought against the mother, she could face misdemeanor. I believe it was misdemeanor neglect, I guess, or negligence. One of the two. This is the thing. If this was happened to be a man, and we talking about a black man, it would have been a felony with no questions asked. And this is why I say women get away with way too much. I won't give a darn if she didn't notice that he took the gun. You still recklessly left that gun unattended for him to get access to it. So it tells me that you're probably not a good gun owner. Just saying. To leave your gun around like that, I don't think that gun was ever locked up. And we gotta be more cautious and careful about what we leave our firearms, especially when we have children. And I would like to know where the biological father is at, which the mother could have got a divorce, maybe anything. But this thing, this child's gonna need a lot of help and prepare for that teacher recovery. And she is a hero for 7 children, and herself. And we gotta do better, people. We gotta monitor our children. Okay, you gotta monitor your children. Bringing a child, a first grader, 6-year-old bringing a gun to an elementary school. How many times in the news that there have been a massive shooting at schools, and particularly elementary schools? We gotta be more careful. We just gotta be more careful. Like, comment, subscribe, turn post notification on. We're on story 2 out of 6. Our second story is out of New Jersey, and this story is crazy. I'm getting this from Yahoo.com. A New Jersey art teacher overdoses on fentanyl in front of middle school students, police say. A New Jersey art teacher was arrested after he overdosed on fentanyl in front of students at a Westfield school, police said. Frank Thompson, 57 years old, was charged Thursday with possession of a controlled dangerous substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, and endangering the welfare of children in connection with an incident in November. Westfield police received a report on the morning of November 29th from a school resource officer that Thompson had been found unconscious and unresponsive on a classroom floor at Roosevelt Intermediate School. Thompson, an art teacher, was discovered and observed in distress by students and was being treated by a school nurse, police said. Authorities said the school resource officer observed signs of drug overdose and administered naloxone hydrochloride, also known as Narcan, an opioid overdose treatment. Thompson then showed signs of improvement. Afterward, investigators found fentanyl and various items of drug paraphernalia in a closet in a classroom, authorities said. Thompson is due in court February the 1st. While the Wheatfield Public School District cannot comment on personal matters, which are confidential, we will maintain a continued focus on students and staff safety and preserving the integrity of the classroom learning environment. Superintendent Raymond Gonzalez said in a statement, "We are grateful for our strong partnership with the Westfield Police Department. It's unclear whether Thompson is still employed by the Westfield Public School District." This article was originally published on NBCNews.com. Okay, I'm going to say this. Number one, I talk a lot about background checks on my channel, and I don't think this school did a good job doing a background check for this teacher to have to been able to even walk in the building with drugs tells me that there's no type with all that's going on in schools, school shootings, and fentanyl crisis that's going on in schools and all that around the world. There should be a regular search going on in these schools. And the fact that they did not know that this art teacher had fentanyl on him and brought it into a middle school where children are there to learn and then hid it in a closet. He should have never been employed by the school district. This is my opinion. What if those children got exposed to this fentanyl? Fentanyl is the number one deadliest opioid. And to bring that into an environment where you could have killed people and or yourself or anybody around you tells me that you don't really care about your job. It tells me that you just don't have the self worth of yourself. And the school district needs to do a better job at hiring teachers because they did a horrible job not focusing on employment. And this teacher, the fact that he was able to bring deadly drugs in a medical school where there are children learning and then pass out in front of children, and you did all of this right under the influence of drugs. This art teacher would have never been employed ever again by any school district if I was superintendent. This will be passed along to every school district in America and in the country. And he will lose his teaching license for good and for life. The crazy thing is that there's a lot of crazy things happening with teachers. And this is the top one, number one top craziest story I ever heard. It's crazy. Like, I'm subscribed. We're on story 3 out of 6. This story, if I'm gonna say, if you're a dog owner, I don't care if you live in a country, I don't care if you live in states, city, suburbs. If you're a dog owner, this you need to listen to this, and you need to listen to this story ASAP. Let me pull it up. We're going to talk about the tragic story. And this story is out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. L. And this is about the story of 7-year old Sadie Davila, Sadie Davila, Davila, who was mauled to death by dogs. This is the child, you know, this is the child we're talking about. I want y'all to take a look at this smile and tell me what do you see. I'm going to tell you what I see in this face expression. I see an electric smile, a happy child who enjoyed life, enjoyed family, enjoyed school, and the sad part is her life was cut short by a neglectful neighbor. That's what I call it. 7-year-old girl was playing fashion show when neighbor's pit bull fatally attacked her. So a pit bull, one of the dangerous, top number one dangerous dog in America. A 7-year-old girl has died after being mauled by a dog Friday evening, and the animal's owner is now facing negligent homicide charges. He is now facing negligent homicide charges. And the reason why I read that to you the second time, right, is because let me tell you, I watched first 48, right, and a man was mauled to death by dogs, and the owner sicked his dogs on the person and killed this man. And he was actually charged with murder. So this man here should have been charged also with murder, murder charges, first degree murder charges, and also including negligent homicide. I think that I'm going to assume this person, the suspect, who was only facing negligent charges, is white. Because if it was a black person, I could tell you that he been facing a first degree homicide charge. Now, according to the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office, deputies were called around 6:35 p.m. on Kendallwood Road, off of off of Who Shoe 2 Road, to assist EMS and the St. George Fire Department at the scene. Hold on. Sorry. I thought it was really dry. All right. Let's get back to it. According to the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office, deputies were called around 6:85 p.m. on Kendallwood Road, off of Who Shoe 2 Road, to assist EMS and the St. George Fire Department at the scene. In the statement Saturday, the East Baton Rouge Parish School System identified the girl as 7-year-old Sadie DeVilla, a first grader at Woodlawn Elementary School. The dog's owner is identified as 20-year-old Eric Lopez, who was arrested and booked Saturday into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison on the charge of negligent homicide. New details released Monday night by the family's attorney said DeVilla was playing fashion show outside her family member's house, approximately 150 yards away from his own home. Let me read that again. New details released Monday night by the family attorneys say DeVilla was playing fashion show when Lopez Pitbull viciously attacked her outside her family member's house, approximately 150 yards away from his own home. According to the report, DeVilla was exiting the side door of the home in a princess outfit and walked through the front door, which served as her runaway. When the dog attacked, the report said DeVilla's grandmother and others were home when the attack happened. The relative tried to fight off the dog by hitting it with a walking cane, but the animal didn't react. The girl was rushed to a hospital in critical condition with multiple dog bites to her face and severe skull damage. She later died from her injuries, deputies say. EBR School Superintendent Dr. Cito Narcis released a statement Saturday addressing the tragic loss of one of their students. Lopez told deputies he didn't have the dog on a leash. Let me do that again. Lopez told deputies he did not have the dog on the leash. Now, I don't understand why dog owners think that not putting a dog on a leash can cause harm. That dog should have been on a leash, and that's the negligent part. Lopez told the deputies he did not have the dog on the leash during the attack, breaking parish law. He says he wasn't home at the time, and that if he wasn't home at the time and the dog was on the leash, that dog should have been in the house. That dog should never been outside without a leash, and the owner should have been out there with that dog. There's no excuse. Breaking parish law, he says he wasn't home at the time and that he left his dog unrestrained and free to roam before leaving his residence. This is an awful, heartbreaking tragedy. Sheriff Sid Gutrick said, "My heart goes out to his family and they will remain in my prayers." Animal control officials told WBRZ they found the pit bull with blood on his face and mouth. The dog was captured and euthanized Friday night. The body is being tested for rabies, and those results should be in by next week. Lopez bond was set at 7,500. He should have had no goddamn bond because he's a negligent person. And at 20 years old, if he's this negligent at being a dog owner, imagine if you have children. Just imagine. He should not been able to own any animals. I'm gonna show you the news video. Fair use. Hit that subscribe. Hit that like button.
There's no case that's too big or too small. If you've been injured and it's important to you, then it's important to me. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help. Spencer.
I got the news video.
Violent death of a 7-year-old who was mauled by a dog. First grader Sadie DeVilla was playing outside a family member's house around 6:30 Friday evening when a neighbor's pit bull violently attacked and killed her. We're now learning more from two friends of the dog's owner, 20-year-old Eric Lopez. They say the attack was more than unexpected. News 2's Callista Matrician has more on how situations like this are a growing concern for the city. You're looking at the moment animal control captured an unrestrained pit bull after it viciously attacked and killed a 7-year-old.
It's always dangerous. The dangers of unrestrained dogs are injury to people, obviously being the worst.
First grader Sadie DeVilla was rushed to Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital Friday night, where she died from her injuries after the attack. By Saturday, 20-year-old Eric Lopez was booked into East Baton Rouge Parish Prison with a charge of negligent homicide. Friends of Lopez say it's a shock. He's in jail.
Never knew why he'll go to jail for injury.
It wasn't the only thing that shocked them. They say they knew the young pit bull well.
It was like a little baby that'd come run up to anybody and jump on them and wiggle his tail.
Lifelong dog specialist Ed Erb says that doesn't take away from knowing what happened to Sadie.
You can't just pretend that because it's sweet when it's young and it's always grown up in your house from a puppy and it's just, everything's pleasant, that it doesn't have a genetic drive to do certain things. So you can recognize the danger in a breed because certain breeds have tremendous bite force.
That force left Davila with multiple bites to the face and severe skull damage. A twisted turn of events from her other visits with the dog.
Like, usually she out there playing on a little playground they got right there, and she called the dog.
The family's house is just down the street from Lopez, on Kendallwood Road, near the Amite River and Parish line with Ascension. More than violating parish laws, Erb says dogs should never be unrestricted.
Don't know how it's going to escalate. It can be a matter of when.
In what way it exactly escalated is still in question. Arrest reports detail the dog's bloody and beaten face. According to Lopez's friends who were at his house that night, family members fighting off the dog wasn't the only cause.
Supposedly they had a dog fight over there, and then the girl got in between it.
It came as young Davila had so much promise awaiting her. Something Superintendent Cito Narcisse said in public statement. Her impact reached many at Woodlawn Elementary. As grievances continue, so do concerns. On the same stretch of road, children playing. Not far, other unrestrained dogs roaming. A problem that plagues more than just one part of the parish. Callista Matrician, WBRZ News 2. The dog owner's bond has been set at $7,500. Animal Control also says they're now running rabies tests on the euthanized dog, which should be in by next week.
$7,500. dollars. It should have been no bond. Two things I find wrong. One is that number one, I want to say I want to give my condolences first of all to the family. Um, I just can't imagine, you know, which I'm going through, and this was uncalled for. It was senseless, and some people don't need to own animals. Number two, I would say this to the parents of this child: if you have a lawyer, and I will hope you have a lawyer, I would take out a massive lawsuit against this pet owner, a massive lawsuit for over $1 million, because y'all gonna need that support, especially when it comes time to lay your child to rest. It's gonna be hard times over the next couple months, into days, into years, and you're gonna need that support. And honestly, I feel like this dog owner needs to pay for the funeral costs. If I was judge, I would have him pay for damages. I would have him pay for everything that you were asked for. And me personally, I didn't know it was illegal for dogs to be off the leash in Louisiana. And I'm gonna say this: to watch the news video and still see dogs roaming without being on a leash, and it's against the law for dogs to be off the leash, tells me that some of these owners do not need to own animals. If you can't take care of your pet, and especially a vicious dog, excuse me, then I would say don't have no dogs, because it ends in tragedy. It can end bad. And the fact that this person has a bond, it would have been no bond. And I also, if I was the DA, would have been walking murder charges also. Your dog murdered a child. You could be held responsible and be looking at murder charges behind it, because it was your animal off the leash and you did not watch that animal. And if I was the prince again, I would go back to the DA and ask for upgraded charges to murder, because I felt this was intentional. Nobody just leaves an unleashed dog and leave, and not come back for hours on end, and then realize that something bad happened, and then almost try to play victim. See what I'm saying? So um, I've been walking some other charges because um, it your negligence cost 7 year old her life, and um, when a child is killed in any type of way, it hurts 1,000%. But number two, the community is in pain, and they're in pain because of your negligence. You had a duty as a dog owner to watch that dog and put that dog on a leash, and you ain't do it. So to you, whenever you get released from prison, I think for a lifetime, You should never be able to own any other pet. And that's just my opinion. I think you're 20 years old. I think first of all, you're not stable enough to even own pets. But yet, and especially not pit bulls. Just saying. Let's move on to the next story. Um, RIP to rest in peace to Sadie Davila and Justice will come. I do think he should have been hit with murder charges, just in my opinion. And if anybody else agree that he should have been hit with murder charges, leave it down below. Comment down below. Because I sure think he should be hit with murder charges. Let's move on to our next story. This story is out of story 4 out of 6. The story is out of Rochester. Rochester. So let's pull it up. 22 hours ago. Let's talk about it. This story happened a while ago. Back in December of 2021, a Rochester teen is sentenced for bringing a loaded handgun inside Bennett High School in Buffalo, New York. This happened in 2021 of December. A Rochester teen was sentenced Friday afternoon for his role in bringing a loaded handgun to Bennett High School in Buffalo in December of 2021. According to the Erie County District Attorney's Office, the 16-year-old, who was 15 at the time of the incident, is residing in Buffalo, was sentenced before Erie County Court Judge Suzanne Egan, a designated youth park judge, to 5 years of probation. He was adjudicated as a youthful offender over the objection of prosecutors. It was on Thursday, December 16, 2021, at approximately 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Eastern Time, police responded to Benton High School on Main Street in the city of Buffalo to investigate the report of a gun and set up the school. The school issued a shelter in place as police conducted a search of the building. Upon the investigation, Buffalo police officers found a loaded illegal pistol inside of a backpack. The juvenile offender ended up pleading guilty back in late October to one count of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, which is a Class C violent felony. The judge issued a final order of protection on behalf of the three witnesses who reported the incident. So, number one, I find wrong with this story is that he got probation for bringing a gun into a high school. Not only that, but who the girl who assaulted another girl in a Buffalo public school system, who was 16, also got probation. That was the update to that story I talked about a while ago. Just recently got probation. Nope, she got six months in jail and then probation. This is the thing. We're not teaching teens, youth, responsibility by throwing probation at them. They need to be doing some type of jail time. because they're not learning from their action. It's not a mistake anymore. It's your action. So, what I think should have happened is he should have got at least 6 months behind bars, and then we could talk about probation. And this is why juvenile offenders start their crime early and get back into the adult system by the age of 18. Because we're not holding them responsible for their actions. We're letting them commit crimes, get caught, do the time, throw on probation, and not throwing jail time. Again, he brought a loaded gun, which was illegal, by the way, into a Buffalo public school. The system is failing. The system is broke. I would have gave probation, but also they gave 6 months in jail. We got to start holding these people accountable and responsible for their actions. And we are the great city of Buffalo, so I'm kind of shocked that he didn't get jail time for being a gun to a school. All right. Um, we're on story 5 out of 6. Police find a woman. This story's out of Chicago, so Chicago takes an L. Before that, Buffalo, we're gonna take an L. I kind of like giving my city a L, but we kind of messed up a little bit. Chicago takes an L, by the way. Police found woman 24 years old shot to death and toddler unharmed in Juliet Alley in Chicago. This is the woman in question. Police found woman 24 years old shot to death, toddler unharmed inside car in Juliet Alley. Police are investigating after a woman was found dead inside a vehicle in Juliet Sunday morning. A 2-year-old girl was also discovered unharmed in the back seat. Around 12:21 a.m., officers responded to a parking complaint in an alley west of the 200 block of Clement Street. Upon arrival, they found a woman in the front seat of the vehicle with multiple gunshot wounds. Her 2-year-old daughter was in the back seat, unharmed. Detectives and evidence technicians were called to the scene and investigative canvass of the area was completed. A representative from the Weld County Coroner's Office responded to the scene and pronounced the victim dead. She had been identified as 24-year-old Maya Smith of Juliet, and an autopsy determined she died of multiple gunshot wounds. Her 2-year-old daughter was transported to Essence St. Joseph Medical Center by the Juliet Fire Department for a precautionary medical evaluation. The child was released to the custody of other family members, police said. The investigation is ongoing. CBS 2 includes a few names of suspects being flooded by the family and friends, but Juliet police weren't naming anyone Monday afternoon. Police said more information on the case could take days, but they are hoping sooner. The Juliet Police Department had planned on holding a press conference on Monday afternoon, but that did not happen. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to contact Juliet Police Department Investigation Unit at 815-724-3020. That is again 815-724-3020. Call that number if you know any information about this story. Information can also be submitted anonymously to Weld County Crime Stoppers at 800-327-6734 or online at Crime Stoppers at wellcounty.org. I'm gonna tell you what's sad about this story. What's sad about this story is that people have no heart. Okay, to shoot up a car with 2 females inside of it tells me that you have no home training. Number one. Number two, there's a 2-year-old child in this vehicle, and you shoot this vehicle multiple times where you end up killing this mother. And this 2-year-old had to witness her mother be gunned down in front of her. Imagine what that child's going to do when that child grows up, and what trauma that child's going to have. That child's going to have so much issues, and especially trust issues. Whoever responsible for this, and I know it was multiple people, you got to think to yourself, I have a family. And what I just did was give myself, right? Gave myself a life sentence in prison. And for attempted murder, another 50 something years behind bars. And this is the thing, Chicago has been just so out of control over the last couple of years. And the mayor of Chicago, I feel like there needs to be more done in Chicago. There needs to be more programs for these youth. There needs to be more outreach to to the youth. There needs to be something happening in the inner city of Chicago. There needs to be a change in Chicago because we're seeing more and more people lose their life each and every day. And statistics show that single women in general, men in general, single men in general, are being gunned down in Chicago. And we're seeing more and more children also being gunned down. So you tell me you can't even sit in a vehicle no more? Whoever's responsible for this, and if anybody know who did this, I urge you to come forward. You could be made anonymously, but you're protecting not only your community, but you're giving this 2-year-old child a voice because this 2-year-old child cannot speak for herself, cannot tell what happened against the people who should have thought twice about shooting at that car. And whoever's responsible for this, I hope you rot in jail. I hope you get a life sentence in prison, if not the death penalty. And I hope that you could picture this child in your mind each and every day and picture this 24-year-old mother who you gunned down senselessly over what? What was the point? We gotta do better. We have got to do better. We are losing people left and right due to gun violence and due to crime. It is time for Chicago to wake up and put harder laws in place. Get those off the streets who do not need to belong on the streets because they are potentially killing everyone in Chicago. Eventually, there's going to be a massive shooting in Chicago if we do not change and get those who needs to be locked away locked away. My condolences go out to this family, and this child lost a mother, 2 years old. 2 years old. Ridiculous. Saw her mother get gunned down. And for what? Sad. Hateful people. Like, comment, subscribe, turn post notifications on. I am on story 6. This is our last story. This is out of DC. I'm on Facts 5 DC. I'm getting an article from Facts 5 DC. And it says Northeast DC homeowner shoots and kills 13-year-old after claiming he was breaking into cars. A 13-year-old is dead after being shot by a homeowner who claimed the boy was breaking into vehicles in a northeast DC neighborhood early Saturday morning, according to police. The Metropolitan Police Department said the shooting happened around 3:56 a.m. in the 1000 block of Quincy Street, not far from Brookland Middle School and Turkey Thicket Recreation Center. According to investigators, the identified homeowner confronted and shot the 13-year-old after claiming that the boy was breaking into several vehicles along the street. They said the boy was shot multiple times. There's no indication of who placed 911 call reporting the incident. Police did not release specific details about the confrontation, but added that there was no indication that that 13-year-old was armed. The 13-year-old was identified by police as Karan Blake of Northeast DC. Police confirmed to Fox 5 that Blake was a student at Brooklyn Middle School. Investigators said when officers arrived at the scene, they found the homeowner performing CPR on the boy. The 13-year-old was taken into an area hospital after the shooting and later pronounced dead. Investigators said that the firearm used in the shooting was illegally registered and the homeowner is cooperating with authorities. Excuse me. While investigating the incident, police found a car on Quincy Street that had been previously reported stolen and is believed to have been used by the 13-year-old. Investigators believe two other juveniles were also involved in the incident. According to a neighbor in the area, the two tried fleeing the scene in a vehicle before bailing out and reality running away on foot. Authorities are still working to determine whether any criminal charges are warranted against the homeowner. Anyone with information on the shootings asked to call MPD at 202-727-9099 or send a text tip to 50411. Now, this is the thing. You know, this team, they said that the team was unarmed. The homeowner shot him because he was trying to start multiple vehicles. This is what I would have done. I don't think I would have used deadly force because two wrongs doesn't make it right. Now, what I would have done is honestly, I probably would have took a picture of the whole scene, called 911, give them the picture and everything. Secondly, I would have did was, and there's something called citizen's arrest. You can place somebody under citizen's arrest. And then what that means that you could basically arrest a person, wait till the police get there, and then turn it over to the authorities. Now, if this homeowner was basically protecting vehicles from being vandalized, I think that we're talking about a 13-year-old. Eventually, right, this 13-year-old, sooner or later, would have been killed. The crimes he was getting himself involved in are dangerous crimes. And if he's out here with other teens breaking into vehicles, most likely breaking into homes, committing all types of crimes. You know, we gotta be parents out here. Let me tell you something. Mothers and fathers and mothers. If you're raising a delinquent child, this is a time to go and take them and get them checked out, evaluated, and seen by a doctor. Because what you don't want to do is raise a sociopath and a career criminal. Now, this is the thing. I think that this 13-year-old should have probably got the help that he needed a long time ago. And the thing is that in some states, you can basically use deadly force if a person is causing what you call harm to a person or to a property. And you know, just to start, you know, just to should wake things up. You can't go around and vandalize people's vehicles or vandalize people's property because there are consequences for your actions, and it could be a deadly consequence or a life changing consequence. And the sad part is that the parents, I bet you, is devastated. But I guarantee if the parents of this child would have did more to protect this child and got him out the streets, he wouldn't have been dead today. My condolences go to his family and to the 13-year-old who was killed. Um, rest in peace. Um, to the homeowner, I think the homeowner was just probably was unfair for his life and didn't have any other option. And he said he used deadly force. A lot of times people use deadly force so that way nothing else is destroyed or nothing else is damaged. I don't know if this homeowner is going to face charges. Do I think he should face charges? You know, it's a 50-50 for me because, you know, you know, I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. But um, they said that the team was unarmed. In my opinion, if he was in fact unarmed, I still don't think I would have used deadly force. But then I probably would have restrained him until 911 got there. Um, if you have young children, I urge you to talk to your children because you are saving yourself from heartache and pain. Like, comment, subscribe, turn post notifications on. This is the end of the video. Hit that cash app at money sign capital C PA 106. I just ordered a phone, so I'll be getting a second phone where I could do YouTube on that phone. But also, don't forget that later today I will be on my reaction channel, and follow me over there on that channel, Charles Reaction. Hit that subscribe over there. Hit that subscribe on my Crime Time channel. Hit that subscribe on this channel, on my reaction, on my children channel. So Children TV. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.